So we made our central store.js file much slimmer by having this counter module. I could outsource the value related things into the value module, then the store would be really slim, but I don't want to do it because I want to show something else. Sometimes you also have some state, some actions, some getters, which don't really belong into one module. In your application, let's say, you have a user's part and you have your blog part. And that would be two great modules. But then also you got some state which is only displayed in the header, which has to be displayed everywhere. Therefore, you don't want to put the header related state into either of the two modules. You could leave it in your main store file, but maybe you got a lot of different actions and so on. So the store.js file will grow pretty big again. Well, for that, you can create other files like, let's say, actions.js. Not in the modules folder, but immediately in the store folder. You can then take your actions, only one action here, but yeah, does it for demo purposes, I guess. And in the actions.js file, you simply export a constant and give it a name, update values, the name of your action. And that, of course, now is a function. So turn it into an ES6 function by adding the arrow and the equal sign. And if you have more actions, you simply add more exports. So here we use named exports to export all our actions. So action number 2 would be another function, for example. So these are the actions. We still can call commit like this because we still will get this commit or this context argument here. It will still work as before. So with the constant exported, let's go to our store. And here we now want to import our actions. So let's add the import from this actions file here. And I'm not going to import all the exported constants one by one, even though it would only be one here, but it could be more in a real application. Instead, I'll use the star syntax and then as actions, this name is up to you, to let JavaScript create an object here, which I can access with the name actions. So this is an object where all my exported values here are basically just properties in that object. So since actions here also is an object, well, I can just use actions. So my imported actions object here, and that should work fine. Now we can do the same for mutations. So let me quickly add mutations.js here, where I also export the update value constant. So export const update value. And of course, also let's create a getters.js file for my for my getter. Possibly could be more than one, of course, where then this would make more sense. So let's add this getter. Let's add the equal sign here. And then in the store, of course, I also want to add the imports. So two getters and two mutations, like this. And then here, as with actions, we use these imported objects. And with this in place, if I save this, you see this still works as before. But now we got a very, very lean file here where we outsourced both our centralized tasks in the actions, getters, mutations file, and we have modules for the more specialized things. And of course, you could even split your modules into actions, getters, and mutations files. So you could create a counter folder, and in this folder, you could then have the actions.js file and so on. I'm not going to do this here, but you can do this. And this really allows you to split this up and to keep the individual files manageable and lean.